30-10. McCole Hardman, not good.
Yeah.
Did you see the play where Isaiah Simmons, who I will admit I have been part of the hype train for him,
I have not been.
Did not handle Andrew Beck out of the backfield, and he had like a 24-yard catch and run. The Packers managed 64 net passing yards among their 4 quarterbacks. Jordan Love took a sack that was a little dangerous by his own admission.
Monk, not
Jacob
great.
Monk with 3 holding penalties and a sack.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Sean Ryan.
Elton Jenkins should be saying,
should hold
my
out
back
again.
ain't going to be no better. Time for a little bread. Because that was a tough day for that was not a great day.
It was not. And Matt LaFleur, well, let's just say he was less than pleased at the way things had played out. Here he is telling us as he walks into the room how bad things were.
Too many penalties, drops, missed tackles, bad decision making, and it really showed up in every phase of football. And if you do that, you're going to get your ass kicked, and that's exactly what happened.
So, and we'll play the other clip later. And then
Jason, so this morning on Wisconsin's Morning News, we played that clip, and the first thing I thought of was like, well, other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? That's
Shut
legit.
up. Did you really?
Yeah.
So I use that same line in the newsletter that is distributed every day, which I'm sure you've subscribed to.
The newsletter?
From Channel 3000.
I think it's similar to our YouTube. I subscribe, but I don't get anything. I'm not sure how that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
That does happen. Yeah, I had the same thought. And here's the thing. Yesterday, I don't know if we have this clip, but yesterday, I asked him what he liked about the game after he went into another, full press conference about how many things went poorly. And he said, I like that it was the preseason, and we got
That's
a
a
lot
good
to
quote.
teach off of.
Yeah, I like that. I like that quote. So here's the deal. I think for as much as we have Brewers fever, I think from a Packers standpoint, they should be excited that the Brewers are playing well. A, because it's a team in the state and all this, but it's deflecting a little bit. Do you think that there is a coach? Now, I am not one to panic about preseason football. I think what it really shows you is your depth and how good the bottom part of your roster is. I think that's more important than all of the other stuff.
Okay.
But I would venture to say, if you polled, you know how Fowler does those polls of the front office and coaches after 32 weeks, or after the game, the 32 teams, Matt LaFleur, I would probably say, would be the most disappointed in what he put out there on Saturday night. Because there wasn't a ton. There's individual performances that we'll talk about that I think you can say, all right, well, there's some interesting things that happened. But from a mentality, coaches want to see what they preach show up on film. That's what they want to see. Doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be aggressive. It needs to be downhill, and you want to see mistake-free. That's what you're looking for. He didn't get any of that. And that's why he gave the little diatribe that he did. It's why he mentioned yesterday about just being preseason football. There was not a ton to take away from a mentality standpoint about what that was. Now, the great thing is it's preseason 1. You get a joint scrimmage that you get to get some work in down in Indy, and you get to play in another game that will flush this, because I can promise you, you go out and play well in Indy this week, it won't be forgotten, but it'll be in the distant rearview mirror of what this season's going to look like. So not an ideal start. Obviously, just it looked sloppy, and I keep coming to that term sloppy because that pounded into my head how they finished last season. And typically you want to wipe that, and that just, even though it's 7 months ago or whatever it is, you don't want that lingering that this is where you're at from as a football operation. And I bet that's what probably irritates Matt LaFleur the most.
Well, he was clearly riled up, and let me clarify something here. I am not saying that he didn't have reason to be pissed.
Oh boy, yeah.
What are you? Oh boy,
it's been a real tricky. It's been a real tricky conundrum that this show has gotten into. But I'm not saying. But what are you saying?
It's gonna be a
You know
long
what I mean?
day. I want to play because it felt to me like yes, plenty of issues, drop passes. McCole Hardman, what are you doing back there? Jacob Monk, Sean Ryan had a bad night.
Yeah, he had a rough day.
So let me be clear when I say there was a lot to be pissed about. I'm not debating that. But you don't have Reed, Wicks, or Watson at the top of your wide receiver depth chart. By the way, I thought for the 12 snaps he played, I thought Matthew Golden took another step toward being a dude.
he was good.
Right? I thought Bo Melton, who didn't get targeted much, looked like a corner. Not saying he looked like Darrelle Revis, but he looked the part. I thought Jordan Morgan played pretty well.
Strong. Yeah, he did a nice job.
So my point that I was trying to
like Belton. I also thought Belton played pretty well.
Yeah. Physical.
The big dude.
Not small.
Big dude.
Yeah, very big dude. But so I tried.
I'm going to make a prediction before you finish your
Sure,
I'm going to predict we're going to see some U71 package this year with the big fella.
With number 71. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. All right.
What is your deal today?
I'm having fun. I can't have fun?
He had a good weekend.
ahead.
He's got fever.
Hey, I'll sit here and pout and mope with you if you want. Sure.
It's just a weird vibe today. I just don't. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
This is what it's like when you have Brewers fever.
Apparently, this is one of the symptoms. So I basically said, all right, I think I literally said pissed in the question. Like, I get that he's pissed. But, like, it felt a little over the top to the point where I wondered if maybe he was kind of ginning it up a little bit extra to get the guys on notice kind of a thing. Because I know it was bad. There's no debating it was bad. But I wanted to, I was looking for some perspective from him. And here is how he viewed that question. So when it comes to preseason, I understand you're pissed, and I get it. How do you keep it in perspective that, you're playing without three of your top wide receivers?
Yeah, bottom line, though, you just don't want to put bad football out there. And so whether it's preseason or not, it's a little disappointed, I would say. So we got the thing about it is you got to have the urgency to fix it, and it's got to get fixed fast because, the regular season is going to be here in no time.
Do you remember last preseason? What do you remember from last preseason?
I don't.
The Wicks touchdown.
I remember Jordan Love didn't play a ton, and I didn't realize there's only 3 snaps.
We were at the Ravens. It was super hot, noon start, and we left after the start of the third quarter, and we got a new phone for Becca. She went to the phone store before the game was over.
Boy, this is fascinating insight. Where did you get lunch when you left? What the hell are you doing?
That's what I remember.
So we got
preseason last year.
Jesse,
got a new phone, and we grabbed a great sandwich.
Jesse,
on the back.
Jesse, thank you. You proved my point. Do you remember? Not even what the score was or what happened in the second week of the preseason last year. Do you remember who the Packers played?
Week 2.
No.
Browns,
No.
Ravens.
They always play the Colts, it feels like. Chiefs, maybe?
They played the Denver Broncos.
Oh, yeah, the two
in
game.
Golden, Colorado.
Yeah.
And they lost 27-2. The 2 points they scored were on a safety. That feels like
nice.
It's kind of
if
fun.
that happened in a game that counted, you would remember, right?
Yes.
You would remember 27-2, and all they scored was a safety. But
Jason,
none of us remembered that. None of us.
We did not. Was
'Cause
this
it
a
does not
Bishop's charity
matter.
game? Because was this the Bishop's charity, or is next one the Bishop's charity?
They seemed very charitable. There is no such thing anymore. We have done away
They
with that.
retired that?
They call it Packers Give Back now.
I always
the guys
appreciated
with little fez on their head. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're gone.
Yeah,
No,
I always
the
thought
really
we
bad
played harder.
Bucky knockoffs and all the different cartoon characters.
Well, they don't
in
have that
like
hard
kind of
nose
the
to hammer.
low quality furry ensembles. Yeah, those were quality
Hey,
days.
don't
I
you
love those games.
stop disparaging the Bishop's Charity's costumes. I'll say we always played harder when it was Bishop's Charity night.
Yeah, what?
No, I think we did.
You're
It
making
just seemed like
that
it was a
up.
big. We felt like it was a bigger deal. So, to your point on the 27-2, it really isn't about the score. And I think the word
They
that
played like crap
you can,
too, though.
I'm talking this game right now. Last year,
Both games. They played like
urgency is the term that I think is the most important. When he said that, it was because preseason is getting more and more difficult to keep your guys. The iron sharpens iron. Why I liked when you announced that they're going to play a little bit and that you have to get ready mentally to be out there and play, because there is no replacing being out there and playing. And they're going to replace it this week, it sounds like, with that inter-squad game or the joint practice. Great. You're going to get all these conditions and the quarterback can't get hit. I understand all of that. That's great. But there is something, and there are some residuals. Even though people could say, and I saw this on Twitter a bunch, the Lions were 4-0 and they went 0-16 one season. Yeah, that's all true. It ain't about that. It's about how you feel, your vibe. And it's early in the preseason yet. You still have 2 weeks and some time to prep for the Lions game. Certainly you're going to hope that you feel better about where you're at. But Saturday night, you always want to advance something forward when you're doing a preseason. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Nobody cares. One of the quotes was, the score doesn't matter, but how you feel about the game afterwards. That part does. Nobody, I think, feels good about, from a team standpoint or from a position standpoint, other than the punter and maybe the kicker. Does anybody feel good about what they put out on film? So now the question is, you wipe this? Absolutely. You need this. It just puts more urgency on this week's work for you to start feeling a little bit better about where you're at as a football team. Because if you have another game and practice session like we just saw, all of a sudden then you start wondering, is this who we are? And you don't want to have those thoughts creep into your head if that's where you're at.
Yeah, I agree that it's not about the score. My point of bringing up Denver was they didn't put anything good out there either, right? They did nothing well in that game either. They go 3 and out offensively with the ones with at least one drop, depending on how you score things, right? I mean, Sauce Gardner's a good corner. You would like Romeo to catch one of those balls. He had not a great night either. But again, my question is, I don't know how to put it in perspective. And if you listen to, I asked the same question of Jordan. Maybe we can get that for later, because I thought Jordan took a more sensible tack of, we're really not happy with the way we played, but I'm not going to make any lasting judgments based on one preseason game, which I thought was the way to look at it.
Do you feel like LaFleur did make lasting judgments, or is it just he's pissed
I think
because
it's just
his team wasn't ready to play?
I think the point that you have made in your critiques of him showed again. I thought he was a little emotional. Like, I thought it was a little over the top. Like, again, I'm not saying please don't misunderstand me. They played like garbage. They deserve to be criticized. The coach has every right to be pissed. I talked to Tucker Kraft about it. He said the same thing. And I trust Tucker Kraft's judgment. And he was like, look, he had every right to be pissed at us. That was terrible. So I'm not saying that the emotion, it just felt like it was a little lack of perspective-y.